Hello, everybody. Welcome to the NEPA Scene Podcast, the only live streaming face-to-face arts and entertainment podcast covering northeastern Pennsylvania, offering a true alternative voice in local media. We're coming to you from the NEPA Scene studio underneath Center City Print in downtown Scranton. I'm Rich Howells, the founder and editor of NEPA Scene. Summer Costco's behind the scenes in the producer's chair. And tonight we're here with Scranton-based folk, Americana, country, roots rock singer, songwriter, drummer, Brendan Michael Smith. I was going to add a few more things. Astronaut, maybe. Whatever.
Just say guy. This guy.
He just released an album with his new band, the Susquehanna Boom Company, that they're supporting with a headlining show at the River Street Jazz Cafe in Plains on Saturday, June 13th. So we're talking about the group and breaking down every song about real blue-collar life experiences, how being a drummer affected his singing and songwriting when he stepped out from behind the kit, his 2024 debut album, Till the Wheels Fall Off, that was funded through Kickstarter, touring and drumming for bands like the Prodigals and Dead Winter Carpenters after college, how his second cousin Pappy Biondo and his band Cabinet helped and maybe influenced his work, his upcoming show with Pappy, and Lowell Thompson at the Jazz Cafe on Sunday, May 24th, and full band performance at the 10th annual Get Down on June 25th through 28th, and much, much more. So please join our conversation with your questions and comments down below. We'll get to those later on in the show. So anything you want to mention, maybe you've seen him live and you want to tell us about that show and how great it was, how wonderful that experience was, or anything about maybe coming up, are you excited about any of these shows coming up, the Get Down, all that kind of thing. Leave those questions and comments down below. We'd love to hear from you. And it helps boost the show in the algorithm, so everybody wins. Summer, cue the music. NEPA Scene is brought to you by Center City Print, bringing your ideas to life in 3 locations, Scranton, Kingston, and Hazleton. These one-stop shops are locally owned and operated, providing high-quality print products at affordable prices. From business cards, brochures, and banners to posters, flyers, and tickets, let their custom design solutions and exceptional customer service make your next project a reality. Use promo code NEPA Scene in person or online at centercityprint.com for 10% off. All right, well, let's start with a little background about yourself. Where did you grow up around here?
Susquehanna County.
Okay.
Yeah.
And a lot of your songs, of course, about everyday blue-collar people, which we'll get into. So what kind of environment were you raised in?
I was raised by truck drivers and nurses. That's a lyric out of the. That's kind of like the "Till the Wheels Fall Off" vibe. Was trying to tell that story through music, but most of the people that I wanted to write about were the people that raised me. So yeah, I mean, blue collar people, hardworking. Dirt under their fingernails. We worked in stone quarries a lot. That was like. But most of the people, stacking stone, it's like Pennsylvania bluestone, it grows in your backyard. But yeah, not a lot of, we'll just call it middle class,
Sure.
But that was just the upbringing part. Like once I got older and got to see, different parts of the world, I realized like, oh, not everybody grew up that way. It's kind of pretty, it's got its allure to. Like, that quality of life, you know. I don't want to call it simple, but that's the vibe I get from it. Like,
sure. Yeah, not in an insulting way.
Correct.
In a you know,
just like
the bare
simple.
essentials kind of.
Yeah, you know. And as things got crazier and crazier in life as you grow up, it's like, you want that. You know, you're like, how do I get back to that simple? But yeah, Susquehanna County, it's a lot of farms, you know. I think I went to school with the same 85 kids from kindergarten to high school, like graduated with that same amount, you know.
Sure, yeah.
But yeah, man, after that, like once I ended up in New York City and stuff, it was different pace, different lifestyles, and so yeah, I don't know, country boy, you know, like it was just, and now being a country boy is like cool or something.
Right, it's
you
interesting.
know,
yeah.
Everybody's got a cowboy hat, so you're just kind of like, oh, you want to hear about how we picked rocks out of the ground and made money? Okay. Coal life, you know, like whatever.
Yeah.
But
now, would you say that there's kind of a difference in like what you would call a, you know, Pennsylvania country versus like, you know, the South country? Mm-hmm. You know?
Oh yeah, I mean. And that's the cool thing about that term, you know. It's like when I ended up in California, Northern California, like you know, Nevada was right. We were right close to Nevada, so their country, they had like legit cowboys, like cowboys who sat on a horse all day in the sun with a huge hat to like save them, you know. And it was like. But they had this really cool event in Elko, Nevada called Cowboy Poetry Competition. And so it'd be like all these tough dudes would get together and talk poetry because they're kind of like unadulterated or whatever. Like it's a simpler mindset all day because there's not so much. And I was like, oh, that's country music here. Like the country I have about the Pennsylvania style is just like, just one form of country, but I guess it'd be like the country music that I grew up listening to came from the South. You know, like a lot of that influence was like, it took place in so many places, but at its core, it was about being close to the earth, you know, like it wasn't jazz, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Whereas like living in the city and stuff, getting there, it was like, oh, I can see how jazz music or funk or hip hop or something would be like, that's what you grew up living. So that's what you want to hear. That's the artists that you like. But Northeast Pennsylvania country, man, that's like, I don't know. It's got its own level of toughness because it's like, I like to think like people in Northeast Pennsylvania, if you got a flat tire, they'll pull over to help you, but they'll yell at you the whole time. Like, they'll tell you how dumb you are, but they'll be the one changing the tire with you.
Yeah, yeah.
Whereas other places, you know, maybe down south, it's like that kind of cliche of like slow or, you know, that like everything. But it's all for a reason for whatever that area has to offer, you know. I think the farming in this like area, we were kind of talking about Amish country before, because that's like what I experienced in college. But like whatever the lay of the land is like, the people are going to adapt qualities like that, I feel. So maybe up here we're just a little more like rocks or something. You know, rocks and trees. Not like shimmery mountain rivers, you know, but dirty, you know, kind of muddy Susquehanna River with
a little rough around the edges.
A little rough around the edges. That's definitely the country vibe up here I get.
Okay, that's fair. So how did that affect you as, do you think maybe affected you as a person? Maybe not just as a musician, but like maybe who you are, who you became?
Yeah. Well, that's tough because when I was young, I hated that. Like I really didn't feel like I fit in with, you know, kind of the run-of-the-mill lifestyle of, you know, kind of sticking around to do what daddy did or taking over the business. So when I was, I don't know, like probably 13 or 14, I started studying with a local jazz instructor, Marco Marcinko. And Marco really kind of gave me a lot of, like culture from his experience in the world and playing in Magden music over, in Little Oliphant. And so once I found that, like, river of inspiration, I just kind of kept following it. So inevitably I wanted to run away from how I was grown up.
Yeah.
And then, to kind of come full circle to be like, I want to get back to it.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't know if it does that for everybody, but that was my path. Maybe not wanting to stay here was like exactly what brought me back or something,
Sure. Yeah. I've seen a lot of people who have gone through that same path. A lot of people that I've interviewed here too.
Yeah. I bet it's probably very common for artists or anybody creative just trying to see how someone else draws inspiration or what their form of creation is. Like, you have to go see it.
Yeah.
You can't complain and expect it to come to you or for things to change if you're not going out seeking it.
Yeah, and I think too, you have to have those life experiences, and I think people, the cliche in their mind is that, well, musicians, they learn their craft and then they get a big audience and they tour all over and stuff like that, and it's like, but not every musician also has to follow the exact same path or be the exact same kind of musician. Like, not everybody's built for touring, for example. There's a lot of people who like that's just not a life you want to live. And also it's getting tougher and tougher for even the big musicians to do that. Never mind if you're one of the smaller ones and things like that. Lifestyle is just incredibly expensive. It's really taxing on yourself, your health, your personal life, like everything. So like, it's something that I think everybody should like experience if you're a musician, but maybe it's not something you want to do all the time,
Yeah, 100%. Because even when we were young, like it became quite clear. Like, we played with, I played in a bunch of bands when we were growing up. I don't know if you remember. So we were talking upstairs. It used to be it
used to be the Vintage Theater right above us here.
So I played in a band called Skip Town Maddie.
Oh, yes. I know Skip Town Maddie.
Okay, so Skip Town Maddie was my experience with like at first I was playing with guys from other schools. They tracked me down. They heard there was a good drummer or whatever, and once we got to the point where we were piecing stuff together, we did a tour and we went to Florida. And we printed out all the directions on MapQuest before we left. We all there was like 9 or 10 of us in a van, and we just left. Like that was it. We went on an adventure and we came back, and it was pretty evident, like, not everybody wanted to do that grand of an adventure.
Sure.
Maybe like going out to, I remember we played in Jersey Shore, which I thought would be in Jersey. Right? You're like, I'm still in Pennsylvania, but like those type of little runs, you'd go up to Binghamton or whatever. Mm-hmm. That's a little bit of like a stretch, but going to Florida, maybe that's not for you. Maybe the sleeping on the bench seat or 5 guys in one motel room or whatever. It's like,
yeah.
But that was a different time. And as you grow up and as these people are still playing, it just becomes a different ball game of like what you're willing to kind of compromise with and for. And, now I got a baby, now I got a wife. I got like, there's all sorts of other things now that are like, wait, that weekend warrior thing is kind of fitting, and it might not be like, hey, look at me, I'm in Texas, I'm in Nashville, but really it's just like, if it fits your lifestyle better and you're still playing music and you're still getting that little, tickle in your stomach every time, like, then isn't that what you wanted?
Yeah, right? To me, that's a successful musician. Right. You're doing what you love, and you're getting to do it on a regular basis, and for a living whenever you can, and like that's what matters.
I think so, and there's even levels to that, because I think you could really do the cover band thing, and I know a lot of people who make like great livings, like, in maybe like a Beatles cover band or whatever, and how extensive they go, where that line for a tribute band, a cover
Yes.
band becomes, I don't know, but
Yes.
like, and I could get down with that with the right group of musicians. Like when you're really taking those songs, those cover tunes, and like putting your own thumbprint on it, that's a fun time. But again, it was just kind of like, for me, I was like, I don't want to just do that. Like creatively, I wanted to stretch, and that was kind of where I realized I'm gonna have to start writing my own songs. To really, I didn't want to wait around for like another band to be like, yo, we got an open spot for a drummer, or hey, we need a fill in for a tour. Like, I was just kind of complaining too much, and I was like, well, I gotta change it, So I wrote I think 12 songs there for that first album or something, and yeah, that was when things started to shift. Then it was like, okay, now this is the next level of being creative. New responsibilities, new crowds, new venues. And they were smaller, than what I was used to just playing drums. But I don't know, that tickle was still happening before I'd play a gig. Like, don't mess this up, or I'd play something, I'd be like, dude, you cannot do that again, And there might be 3 people there, but I was mentally logging all of those little, clam chords that I was doing. And I think right now I'm at like a really good spot in my life personally, and with this project, this next, this newest kind of endeavor with the Susquehanna Boom Company, being like, all right, like, I bought a house here. I'm here to stay. Let's do this. Let's make it loud. Let's have a party.
Well, let me jump back for a little bit. So you started as a drummer. Was it you? Mm-hmm. What made you pick up the drums? Were you was that when you were a kid? Like,
yeah. So you kind of said it before too. Pappy Biondo, JP Biondo. They got a band called Cabinet. So the Biondo family. My mom's a Biondo, so that's that's my lineage.
Okay.
Our family reunions are huge every year.
Oh, so you're related to both of them?
Yes.
Okay.
Oh, yeah. And we always grew up, like, the whole thing is music. Mm-hmm. Whether it was, like, singing church stuff during the daytime or the campfire at night, it was all everybody sang. Even if you didn't know the words, you'd hum. Drunk Uncle Somebody was, like, picking away. It didn't matter. So everybody kind of had this thing going on, including my uncle John Biondo, and John's my, my mom's brother, and he had a band, and he lived 2 houses over, and I would go over and listen to their band practices, and their drummer I would sit at the wall, and their drummer was right behind me, so I would be like, just the loudest instrument was the drums, it was right there, I loved it, and then I think I was probably like 12, maybe 13, when my uncle was like, I need a drummer for my band. And this was like, we were playing in bars. But the first gig that I did, I'll never forget it. Like, I was playing, and we were in a big barn, and he turned around and he's like, this isn't a funeral. Hit the goddamn drums, And from that point on, I was like, yes, sir, So that was just kind of like, and it just took off from there. It became my everything. Like, I was really using the drums to go through every part of childhood. Like, angsty aggression, creative sparks, like all that stuff. And then studying with Marco really kind of elevated things when it was like, okay, if you want to get serious, like, these are the guys you listen to. These are the people that are doing it now. This is how you set stuff up. This is your positioning. So, like, I went to school for percussion down in Lebanon Valley College, and I did a summer percussion camp at Berkeley when I was 18, and that was my first time looking at some of the kids who were playing and being like, I can never get there. But like some of them just seemed a little shut off. I don't know how to explain it. There was like a level of, they would practice 8-10 hours a day. And they would get to this level where I was like, well, of course you're going to like travel the world as a musician. Look at how much time you're putting into this. But my attention span would be like, maybe I could practice for an hour. And then I want to go ride my bike. I couldn't commit to that level of like one focusedness. So it was cool. It was a great experience up there. And I met so many great people. I was like, I signed up for the funk class and I showed up and I was the only white kid, and that was my first experience with like, whoa, okay, you guys are going to show me how to do it all. Like we're going to, and it was just like a cultural experience for me at a young age where I started to realize like the drums could take me somewhere. And I mean, through everything, like I always kept trying to get better and better and studying from people and then it kept going pretty much up till COVID to where things kind of like the touring stuff fell off, the teaching stuff kind of fell off, and that's when I was like, let's pause on the like just drums. But the guitar was my second instrument forever. So it was like, since everyone had a guitar everywhere, I knew how to play cowboy chords.
Yeah.
GCD, bang, 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 like... So it just evolved almost out of this, like... Yeah, I want to play drums, but I guess now I got to write the songs. It's really hard to write a melody on a tom-toms, It's like... And I always loved the band, the band with Levon Helms playing and singing, like having that level of just like shouty excitement. The drummer didn't have to be in the back,
right.
And just like, so that's kind of like naturally how I am in life. Like I want all the musicians in a circle, I want us all to partake in something and look, be present. I don't like the big like rock show thing.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's all music, so I can't be wrong.
Well, that's one of the things that, I love about being able to cover the local music scene is it is that very intimate, one-on-one sort of feel. Everybody's in a room. Everybody's kind of on the same level. A lot of times it might not even be a stage.
Yeah.
Like that to me is more authentic than a lot of what they present as these big rock star sort of things where it's this huge production and all this other kind of stuff. But it's like, there's so many layers to how false that all is. Like, you're so far back, you're so far removed away from the people. There's barriers, there's security everywhere. There's all these things to fill in the sound where you're like, I don't even know if I'm hearing what you're doing live or if I'm hearing a pre-recorded track.
100%.
So it just really takes, for me anyway, it takes a lot out of it. It's like, I'm not one of these... I don't need to see... If I wanted to go see fireworks, I'll go see fireworks.
Right.
I don't need to see fireworks on stage. I don't need to see a big production with tons of stuff everywhere. I can go see a show at the theater or something for that. Like that's a theatrical thing. For music, I kind of want it as like just musicians playing their stuff.
Playing their instrument.
To me, that's the concert experience. But I know other people, have their own...
I don't know, though, because... I think one of the things that I always heard was, like, don't think less of your audience. Like, just remember that your audience is, whoever's listening to your stuff, they're with it. They're just as much with it as you are. So, like, don't placate them or whatever, know? And it's funny because, especially today, with AI, with, everything happening on a screen as well as in real life, or that barrier becoming blurred, like my approach is I don't ever use any of the notes. I don't use a phone. Like it's literally from this point forward it's been a kick drum, a tambourine, and an acoustic guitar. Like there are 3 acoustic instruments. I'll play the harmonica. Like everything that I wanted to do was like, I love plugging stuff in. Like I love it. I love synthesizers and all that stuff. But for the, you know, the benefit of playing it, it had to be like acoustic instruments for me. And honestly, I make so many mistakes like in my shows, you know, like it's not perfect, but it almost makes people like it more. I don't know. I don't know how much someone likes something, but I feel like it makes me approachable then to like an audience. Cause you know, you come in and someone's like, if you're playing at a restaurant, someone's eating their dinner, and then all of a sudden, this guy is next to you, like, you know, singing a song at the top of his lungs. But if you're not real, like as the musician, if you're not, I botched that one, or forgot how that song goes, you know, but gave it a shot, then all of a sudden those people are like, oh, cool, you know, like that's the realness that I think everyone like wants in art, you know? Yeah. And especially with like, you know, so my wife, she's a visual artist, and in paintings, it's like in a world where there's graphics is just like a dime a dozen, you know, to be someone who's like, how do you visually accept art? Like, what do you want in a visual experience that brings you joy? And I think that's just like raw. Like, you want to see real shit. You want to see raw emotion. And I think it just shines through on whatever platform you do. Yeah. You know, or it's exposed at some point to the audience that you don't do that. Right. You know what I mean? Like, what you get at some of those shows where you just feel like, oh man, I don't know. It's like, there were so many backing tracks, like, you know, which one was the singer's voice? Maybe they don't want me to hear it. Maybe it's not.
Yeah. I think there's like this this obsession with trying to make it sound exactly like the album, but live. And it's like, I'm kind of on the side of like, I think it should sound how you want it to feel in that moment. Mm-hmm. Like, you know the song, you wrote the song, you played the song 100 times over. I want to hear you play a completely different solo on this. Yes. I want to hear you maybe change the lyrics a little bit. I want to hear mistakes or little improvising here and there, like something that makes it unique. Where that I'm going to take that home and I'm going to remember that the next time even I put on that album. I'll be like, oh yeah, but when he played it live, it was so cool. I loved how he did this or that. Yeah, and that to me is really the thing that they can't sell you, which is authenticity. You know, to be authentic is really, I think, what most people want out of not just music but art in general. And that's, you see now, especially with the pushback, like you said, with AI. There's a lot of people who I think are so against it because it is so unauthentic. It is, you know, you have some people arguing that, it's putting everybody at the same level. And it's like, but I think you should have to work for things. I think you should have to maybe put a little time and effort into things. I don't think it should just be click a button or say a prompt and something just generates for you. I don't think that's how it should work. I think it really should be something you have to put some time and effort into. I don't know. That's me.
I think like you know, so many people say it's not the outcome, it's the process. You know, it's not that end product. It's about how all the steps you took to get there. So if we're in a culture where we're pushing a button and you're getting what you wanted, like, that's not really what you wanted, and you're probably going to push that button for 10 years before you realize, or whatever that passionate thing you have is, you know, like, because I do get afraid, you know, I was teaching middle school music, and of course I want to let them like use all the aspects of the internet, you know. You want to write a song, you don't play an instrument, like, let's mess with some, you know, drum samples, like, let's do that, let's get in there. But there came a point where it was just like, I don't know, am I should I not tell them to do this? Should I say like, this is the Antichrist to musicians to just like, write into ChatGPT like, I'm in 6th grade. I want to write a song about the blues musician, like, like do it for me in the key of E. And it's like, it will.
Yeah.
And it'll impress those kids at first, but the kids who really want to pursue that music stuff, they're going to go deeper until they get an instrument in their hands, or at least that's what I tell myself, because I do get afraid sometimes for like.
Yeah, I hope that it is kind of just a trend right now, that it's a hot topic that people are really heated about at the moment, so it's kind of hard to see like what the bigger picture will be down the road. But yeah, I do think at some point there will be enough pushback or enough. The good first step that I think has been made is that you can't copyright that stuff, because it's like if something's made through ChatGPT, you can't just like, and I'm sure people will try and they'll go about it other ways, but as of now, you can't put a copyright on that the same way you can copyright a song that you wrote. So therefore, anybody can use it.
Well,
you
good.
already have people who are AI artists who are getting mad at other people for taking their stuff, and it's like, but that's exactly what you did. You took other people's stuff that this was trained on, and to create your own crap, and now you're mad that somebody stole your crap.
Which is funny. Amazing. It's funny because musicians, the saying is like, the good ones borrow, the great ones steal. Right? If you heard that.
Sure. Yeah.
And it 100% is, I guess, all the songs I've ever heard live up here. And when I write a song, I am straight borrowing, stealing at times, just to be like, how would George Jones sing about his dog, being like so sad? And then that's what's going on in my brain. Yeah. But what comes out of my mouth is totally me.
Sure.
Or whoever that artist is that you're like trying to portray. And so there is like a level of, sure, we all are built from what came before us. Yeah. But ChatGPT, the AI is just like, here it is, all at your fingertips in 1 second.
Yeah, and I think the people who make the comparison between the two are really mistaken by the way that the human brain works versus the way a computer works. The computer can only copy what it knows. So it can only take what you've already made and try to reproduce that the best it can based on programming. Whereas your brain, when you're influenced by something, and you're mixing all those other influences in there, and you're putting your own kind of, the way that you see things, the way you see the world is so unique from the way everyone else sees it. That's a combination that no computer can create.
Right.
So that's why when you hear something AI, at least as of now, the technology, I think it really stands out as pretty obvious most of the time.
Right.
It's getting better all the time, but right now I think it's pretty obvious that it's just kind of a copy of a copy. Whereas, musicians, I think it's much harder to do that. And even then, like, people, still to this day, what are these guys that you're friends with on social media that just thinks they have a hot take on everything? But it's like, everyone else has had that take years ago. The guy's like, yeah, Led Zeppelin's always been a big ripoff. Unpopular opinion. I'm like, actually, that's a really popular opinion that many people hold.
Led Zeppelin's been a ripoff?
They were just ripped off a bunch of blues stuff. And it's like, but sure. Yeah. You could go down that route if you want. But don't pretend like that's an original thought.
Right. Oh, no, man. You can't. Because that's what history is. And I think it's really cool because it's funny to have that argument about musicians when music is historically the way to pass information. It was like before you recorded anything, like before we wrote stuff down, like the way, troubadours or people like these people that came to town and sang these songs, or, like even like the country musicians back in the day, or the tent revivals, like you got those experiences, from the musicians always being the ones who were ripping off the stuff, but it wasn't really consider ripping off when you're like, no, I heard this guy in Alabama sing a really cool song, and I want to sing it for you folks tonight. You know, it's like,
Yeah.
I don't think that's ripping off, but technically,
it's really keeping music alive, honestly, because so say that person that you're talking about dies tomorrow. Well, that music went with them,
right?
Right. Like if they never put it out there and that recording was never saved or archived somewhere. I mean, you think about all the music that we've lost to history. That's just gone forever. That's not recorded anywhere. That's not, all of the masters of so many albums that just went up in flames because, some warehouse wasn't well taken care of or something. So, and that's just modern music. We're not talking like centuries of music, all the way up to the present. So really, it's just us kind of, taking a little bit of that and putting it, bringing it to the present, and giving it to people now. Like, I don't see anything wrong with that.
Yeah, and I guess that's kind of my hope, is that that'll always be happening. Regardless of how many people want to hit the easy button and just try and take credit for hitting the easy button, like, somebody's going to push back somewhere to say, like, no, my granddaddy taught me a song, and it goes like this, and, like, that's going to be... I don't know. I hope forever. Like an acoustic guitar is like, it'll survive anything, man.
Sure.
And I don't know. I don't know if all this stuff that lives digitally, like, has the legs for it.
Yeah, I mean, we act like they always say like the internet is forever and that kind of stuff, and it's like, yeah, but is it though? Because we've already lost like good chunks of. If you just think of important websites or things that should be archived somewhere that somebody just accidentally deleted, or somebody left that company and was like, I'm gonna delete everything on my way out, or some server crashed somewhere and something got lost. So like, that stuff can get lost just as easily as physical
100%,
things. So,
man.
like,
probably even easier with how
really,
tiny.
yes.
You know what I mean? It's
yeah, exactly.
If you give me a floppy disk, I'll know it's important because it's this big. If you give me like a microchip, I don't know. It's probably got so much more info, but gone.
Yeah, exactly. So, what as a drummer, what made you say, all right, I'm gonna get into singer-songwriter stuff. I am gonna, what made you transition from one to the other in terms of, what you were doing on a more regular basis?
I always, in all the bands I played in, I always sang and played drums.
Okay.
But I was always singing harmonies. So I was in the back. But, like, singing songs behind a drum set, you have one volume and it is full. Because, you're already doing something that's so loud around people that are, in amplification systems, and it's just like, I would just yell. Even if it wasn't into the microphone, that was my practice for, 20 years of singing and playing drums. The songwriting aspect was, I don't know, I almost consider that like a different part of me. And I remember, I probably wrote my first song when I was like 14 or 15, and it was no good.
So it was always in there somewhere.
It was always in there, as I would write poems when I was really mad. Like, that was the safest way for me to move that energy through my body was. And a lot of them were sappy, like when I was younger, just about dumb stuff. But really what I was doing was learning how to, like, manage my emotions. And that never is a bad thing at any age.
Right.
And I've struggled with that from time to time, dude. Like, so it kind of is, I don't know, I guess I'll just say it because it's true. Like, before releasing my first album, I was really depressed. And I was, as June Carter would say, I was envious of the corpse. And things got, like, not cool. And it kind of felt like the options that I had were it would, like, taking medication for that kind of stuff really just dulled my enjoyment of anything. And that's no fun. Like, I don't know. I like to live on the fringes of those feelings, even if they are sad, because I know that my happies are just as extreme. But when I was in that spot, like, music was the only thing that I actually, like, had to help. So a lot of the, like, transition into songwriting really came from kind of just doing what I've always done, but with maybe bigger emotions, and recognizing, that, like, maybe 6 months after I wrote a song that really was written in a place where I was like, I don't give a shit. I don't give a shit what happens. Like, I'm ready. 6 months later, I'd listen to a song that made me smile from an emotion that was so low in vibration that, like, I didn't care what happened at all. That to me would just blew my mind. It was like, it really was like alchemy. Like, I think Newton was, like, kind of quoted at saying, like, he wanted to turn lead into gold, or that concept of alchemizing whatever is around you into the most valuable thing. And when I really started, like, really pushing into songwriting, that's exactly what it was. I took the most abundant thing at that time, which was suffering, and I alchemized it into joy, and, like, the first hit that I got of that, I was like, holy shit, man, this is magic. Like, this is, nobody told me I could do this, like, people always encouraged it and gave me a couple dollars or whatever, but nobody told me that I could, like, like, right the ship with a song. So there's a song on that first album called Ain't No Sin, and that's what it was about. It was just like, I've been her before, but that was kind of when I started getting into therapy and talking about those feelings, and finding, like, music was one thing to do it. There's a lot of other ways. Medication is one way. Yeah. Talk therapy is another way. There's, nature is another way. Exercise. Like, there's a lot of ways to deal with those emotions, but for me, the push in from behind the drum set, like, I don't feel like I ever really left the drum set, and the songwriting stuff was always there, but I just got older. Started writing about maybe, like, more adult things or something instead of I hate pizza, which I'm pretty sure was my first song. Like, I don't want pizza, like.
Which is a bold statement from northeastern Pennsylvania, right?
When you play in a band, it's the most common food that you will ever eat. Just everyone thinks, like, give them pizza and water and they will live. You know what I mean? Like,
right.
Just shove them in the band, pizza and water, they'll be okay. But yeah, I think songwriting is, each song is a poem on a page at its starting point. And usually for me, like, those moments are done alone, in silence, no headphones, no TV, no distraction, because that's how you get the purest form of the story out of you.
Yeah.
And that's just one side of music, though, because there's a lot of other goofy shit I got on these albums, which is fun.
Right. Well, you want a variety. You don't want to have 12 songs of all the same thing.
A lot of people do.
I guess I should say, I don't want to have 12 songs
right.
of the same thing. But yeah, I guess some people do.
Yeah, I mean, if you're just trying to hit that TikTok algorithm,
right.
change the BPM like 2 or 3, bump it up a key and do it again.
Yep.
But that's not for me. That's not this project,
Well, what's interesting to me, too, is that a lot of the singer-songwriters I talk to are absolutely not drummers. maybe they have any kind of background in that sort of aspect of things.
Yeah.
So you kind of going a different way and being a drummer originally, and then kind of transitioning into this, singer-songwriter, but still kind of having, the keeping the drums in mind. Does that do you think that affected your songwriting, or made it maybe a little unique or a little different than maybe a typical singer-songwriter might, approach the songs?
Yeah, I'll never, because I love the bluegrass stuff, and I love, I love bands that have no drums, and I've played at festivals. We played a festival out in Bean Blossom, Indiana, which is where John Hartford's from, and he's, a famous bluegrass banjo player, and I had my snare drum with me, and some dude yelled at me from, "Where's the other part of your banjo?" They hate drummers. I never experienced that before in my life, but it was kind of like, wait, how could you hate an instrument?
Yeah.
To me, and especially being the instrument that I liked so much growing up, but it has posed this new world where I'm trying to make a band around me where I can just play drums again. But it to do that, the guitar or a chordal instrument, the piano, whatever it is, somebody is driving the changes in the music.
Yeah.
And you can definitely accentuate things like that on the drum set, but these projects have been a little bit more unique. All my solo shows, I call them a kick and pick or a drum and strum, because it's I'm playing percussion with my feet, but I'll play the guitar, and I'm not the greatest guitar player, but I realized I'm better than quite a few who are on really big stages. I was like, whoa, dude, I can play guitar better than that guy. Okay, I'll give it a shot.
Yeah.
But it has created this unique, I don't know, a boot stompy kind of folk music. There's a little more drive to it, and I think for me, it definitely does. I hate slowing down. Anyone who slows down in a song, I'm like, no. When you're playing, sometimes stuff can start to drag, and for me, that's just it's not gonna happen, because here's the beat.
Yep.
And so it does give me a little more control, but it's funny because I have to, at a certain point, and that's what this band is kind of built around, is when I sit at the drum set, I wash my hands of that control, and we go to space, and if the song takes a hard left because someone forgot what the bridge is, maybe we solo in the A section for 10 minutes, and that's now our space, but I forget what the question was, to be honest.
You got it covered in there. Trust me, you got it in there. We like the. I always. It's part maybe you don't see before the podcast starts. Is a lot of times I'll try to tell people before we go live that don't be afraid to tell stories or ramble or kind of go off a little bit, because that's where the good answers are. I think, especially in this social media, chop everything up and make it 30-second age, that everybody's kind of used to. Here's the question, you answer it as fast and as efficiently as possible, and then we move on to the next thing, and we just get this done in a small amount of time. And that's totally the opposite of what I want to do.
Good,
because I feel
I don't know if I can do that if you paid me, Rich.
Yeah, and I hope you guys in the comments, you could tell me if whether you like that or not. But I appreciate when I'm listening to podcasts and interviews and things like that, which I do all the time to kind of get better at what I do too. But also just because it's something that I like to listen to. I want to hear an actual conversation and feel like I'm listening in on somebody's conversation,
cool.
Hanging out in their living room or something, as opposed to that very stiff, typical sort of a format where it's two people sitting at a table in these really uncomfortable chairs with microphones in their faces, and they're just kind of looking back and forth at each other, and it's just it doesn't really feel like these people know or care about each other, and as soon as the lights are off, that's it. We all move on. That's not what I want.
I've done a few radio interviews where that's the vibe.
Yeah,
and I would look around and I'd be like, well, this is a skill. this person is like totally different when that on air thing goes off.
Yeah.
And we go on air, and then all of a sudden they're like acting. They're in it. And I always I don't know, I kind of respected the people who could vibe with that. You know, just always have that quick, smart ass answer.
Sure.
Or always be like, but yeah, I guess, I don't know, that's not me. I like to sit in the living room.
Yeah, and it's like a skill I don't have either. Like, I don't know if I could like turn on a personality of like, hey everybody, I'm going to talk like this for the next hour, you know, that kind of shit. Like, I can't do that.
I don't know, for like 10 grand, could you do that?
I don't know, man. Maybe.
Money talks, you know?
Yeah.
I'll do any voice you want.
But that's the funny thing, though, is that there is no money in that anymore.
Right.
Like, there really isn't. Unless you're, like, in the, like, even, I want to say, unless you're in the mainstream media, but, like, they're laying people off left and right.
Really?
There's just, there are, like, all the jobs that used to be there are all just gone, you know? And they're really looking for, I think at this point, they want to pare these things down as small as possible, and which is funny because it's all the small media that kind of put them out of business, and now they want to kind of copy the model, but do it inauthentically. And they want to kind of have these very over-the-top sort of personalities that are going to say things that'll get people get headlines, and that's really what matters. And it's more, it's not news delivery anymore. It's social commentary. It's what the outrageous thing that you said about the news, as opposed to just delivering the news. And that really just, I don't know. I think it's come into everything now. It's not just like your everyday average news, but it's also like your entertainment news, and everything else is all saturated with this kind of stuff. And I don't know. That's not for me.
You know what's so interesting to me is like all this shit is weird on the internet, but all my interactions with people are still the same. Like I don't know, maybe one or two kooks a day will like pop in, like piss me off or something, but it's just, I don't know, if like, I almost feel like everyone has like a double life or something, where it's like, maybe there's some like super, I don't know, aggro like person on Facebook, but I just went and, hung out with him for 20 minutes. We had a great talk about country music or whatever it was. It's just like, I don't know. I feel like the human to human interactions are still like, they're still pretty good. Yeah.
It's still, it's important too to separate the internet from reality and realize they are two different things, and that like, everybody creates some form of artificiality for the internet, but when you're just kind of one-on-one as people, it's much easier to relate and get along with people. So I like, as much as NEPA Scene is very internet based and we create internet content and stuff, I try to hope that it comes off as authentic as possible. Like, you see, when we do live streams, they are live, and you see all the mistakes. You see me, sometimes and I fight it as much as I can, but I've had a stuttering thing for my whole life, and so I try to not do that. And there are some episodes where I'm pretty good at covering it up, and there are other episodes where I'm not. And I'm like, oh, that was embarrassing. But it's on the internet. You can go find it, and you can go make fun of me for it if you want. Wow. Same with the open mics. I feel like it's important for people to see the open mic and see that, oh yeah, people do make mistakes, and it's okay. And maybe that encourages me to get up and do it too. Like, if they can do it, and they can get up in front of people every week and do it, well, then I could do it too, and that sort of thing. And see that people grow and they get better too. That's one of the great things about the open mics, is seeing people who start off and they're really nervous and they don't know what they're doing and they're screwing up. And then in a few months, it's like, they look like pros up there. Yeah. And it's like, that's so cool. Like, and that's how it actually works in the real world. And I hope that, that it encourages more people to come out, as opposed to maybe just watching it on the internet all the time.
Yeah. Like, well, I gotta say, because the first, I think, so yeah, I was gone for like 15 years. So when I came back, yours was one of the first open mics I played. Oh, wow. And the way you ran the whole night, dude, I swear, I've been from here to Spokane, Washington, and every crisscross which way, and I'll play a song anytime there's an open mic. Yours was like, the most pro open mic I've ever been to in my life.
Thank you, man. I appreciate that.
And then the fact that you stream them, like that's a lot of work. And then usually when people do that stuff, it's always like, oh shit, so someone plugged the Ethernet cable. You know, it's like they don't know what's going on.
Yeah.
But I was saying, like, I watch all of your stuff because it is like you got a cool, whatever your system is, it works and it's dependable. So like, I think it's just a great opportunity for anybody in, well, especially Northeast Pennsylvania, to watch and like, who might not have that encouragement to even go to an open mic.
Yeah.
To kind of watch people make a mistake and then how they handle that. And that might help them get out to something, you know what I mean?
Well, I hope that it breaks it down for people a little bit, that it's not something that, like, I feel like there's a stigma with the word open mics in general, that like, oh, well, that's for amateurs and I'm better than that. I'm no amateur. I'm right. Professional or whatever. It's like, but I encourage everybody to come whatever your experience level is, whether you're just starting out and you're just trying to figure things out, or you're really great. It's a great way to get out there in general, because a lot of people watch our live streams. A lot of people have gotten booked because of the live streams. Like,
I bet.
There are bar owners and venue owners and things like that who watch it, whether they admit it or not. They watch those streams, and they will book people based on people that I've never heard of that guy before, but he was amazing. I'm going to go, message him and see if he wants to do a show. Same with a lot of the local comedians and stuff too. I've seen a lot of comedy shows and stuff come together because people meet at these things, or they see them on the streams or whatever the case is. So I try to present it as like, this is just a showcase for everybody.
Cool.
Like no matter what your level is.
Well, you do it really well, man.
Oh, thanks,
you do it with like a super touch of professional, which, yeah, not everybody does anymore at all. So thank you.
I think the main thing is just putting everybody on the same level. Yeah, Summer helps me a lot too, because not only does she do the sound for this, but she does the sound for the Union Vapors open mic too.
Oh, cool.
'Cause she does a lot of the sound teching for Union Vapors.
Cool.
So it's cool, because then I learn a lot too, because like I'm no expert in that sort of thing. I can get people plugged in and out and whatever. But, kind of beyond that, it's just playing it by ear and whatever. Yeah. But she has more of the technical expertise and that sort of thing. So
no, you guys got to
learn from everybody you know.
Totally. And I got to say, those comedians, man, those are the ones that, like, they make me feel like if they can do this with no instrument in front of them.
Right.
Like, I cannot whine for 1 second when I get uncomfortable at a gig where no one claps after a song, because man, they just have like, it's almost like a magic shield where they're just like, you can't fuck with me. Like I'm gonna come up here and do a thing with nothing around me, just my mouth, my thoughts.
Yep.
So those comedians definitely encourage me to like stay creative,
For sure.
Because that's kind of what it is, like pure creativity. There's no like monotonous repetition or like practiced style. Like, I don't know, maybe I don't know shit about comedy and there really is practice styles for comedians, but
I've learned a lot too about how that works and how these people and I it's also teaching the audience how it works too, because you have a lot of people who some of the audience will sometimes heckle the comedians, and then I'll say, hey, like, why you attacking this guy? And they're attacking. I'm helping him. I'm by yelling at him and cursing at him, I'm helping him because I'm telling him what jokes are good or not good. And I'm like, no, that is not really how this works.
Is that how it works?
It is not. It is not at all. It's really not. That let them get through the joke, and if you don't like it, don't say anything.
Clap.
The silence will actually tell them, okay, that's what I need to work on that. Yeah. As opposed to yelling at them, that's just going to discourage them from ever coming back. You know what I mean? Like, that doesn't really help anybody.
When you were asking about, like, the Northeast Pennsylvania style, that's when I'm going to fucking yell at him so he knows that he fucked up. And it's like, you don't need to do that, dude.
Exactly.
It's like, no, he knows. He gets it. It was a little rough.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, he'll get there. Like, not like that, though. Not like that. And it's how everybody starts, too. Like, people act like, everybody from Jerry Seinfeld to Dave Chappelle just walked up on stage one day and were just incredible, funny comedians where every joke landed, and then they got TV shows and they got huge. It's like they all started in these little shithole bars, clubs, whatever, wherever they could get a gig, whatever open mic would take them, trying stuff out over and over and over again. And even when they became experts, even when they became huge, they still got a lot of people don't seem to realize this, but especially the nationally touring comedians, they will go to like some of the smaller places, like the littler theaters and things like that, and try a bunch of new stuff.
I bet, yeah.
To see, okay, is this going to work? Is that not going to work? And then they take it to New York, Philly, LA, wherever, and do it when it's refined.
Yeah.
They're not gonna. They're probably not going to try the bigger jokes at the huge arena venues and things like that. But those little clubs and theaters and things like that, they're going to try a bunch of new stuff and see like what lands and stuff. Yeah. So it never ends, really. It's not like you reach a certain level and like everything you say is funny now.
Yeah, constant progression. I feel like that's the like driving force. And like they say they bomb or whatever. That's the term they use. Like, oh, like I had that set bombed or whatever. And I think like every song for me is almost like a set. And I luckily, if I bomb one, I can usually turn it back around, I have enough in my pocket where I'm like, okay, these 3 things are going to crush. Like I tried that one, it bombed, but bombing is important. Bombing really like helped me get my shit together on some stuff where I was like, dude, I can't ever do that in front of a person again. Even if that person is like one person, like I can't play that song that bad ever again. So I better practice,
So with the songs that you have on your debut album, which came out in 2024, Till the Wheels Fall Off, were those songs that were kind of tested and like that you knew going in, like these are songs that I've worked on for years, or was this stuff you were writing in the studio, or like what how'd that come about?
That was kind of a funky position because I had recorded 12 songs on my computer to the point where I couldn't make them any better. Like I was just on the borderline of trying to release the music completely myself.
Okay.
So I had done these songs, and overdubbed all the instruments, and I got them to a point where I was just like, these are pretty good, but I don't want to release this. Like I want to take this to another level. And I knew that I needed, number one, other people, and number two, some money. And so I did that Kickstarter thing with this intention of being like, okay, if I want to pay my musicians, I want to pay for the studio, I want to pay for all this stuff, like how much would that cost realistically? And I used my resources to get like a number which was way bigger than I would have anticipated, but really in the end was like the minimum at what you could do it for.
Yeah.
And I just pretty much like asked my friends, so the bass player, Walter Powelzik, he was the bass player in Skiptown Maddie, and he's still around. He's still got his basses. He's still got his gear, and I was just like, Walt, come over to my house. I want to show you these songs, and we got to get something vibing. And that's kind of where it started, to the point where like, okay, now bass, drums, and guitar. Okay, here's the 12 songs. So I think we had gigged out, like I say we, like a small group of people I had done these little duos and trio shows with, and I threw a few of those songs in, but they were not tested. Like they were a little bit more like, okay, what do you want to do? We got to record it right now. Like we got to figure out how to play through that chorus section in real time. But we did it at Windmill Agency Studios with Eric Ritter. And I mean, like, that dude is a wizard, first off.
Oh yeah, he comes up a lot on the show. All his stuff is really impressive.
Dude's a wizard. Dude's a gangster, actually, because he played out west. He's got his own, like, story of how he built that place up there. The board in there, like, was custom made for the Bee Gees at one point. Like, Dolly Parton tracked on it, like Danzig. Like, so and then the room is like, it's like an old barn. So you have so much ceiling space, which in a lot of studios, especially for drums, like, you can't fake that sound, like, so to get some of those, like, you just have to be in a space that's dialed, and he's got that space dialed, like, and so working with Eric, he really helped me, like, calm down, take it, from the top every time, and just be like, that was a great performance. I think you got a little better in you, or like, you guys are getting there, or nope, that was it. Like, don't even try again, like, he's, I don't know. I think, like, all the people that I worked with were so just my vibe. I don't know if that's that Pennsylvania thing or whatever, but they were just so easy to communicate with through the process that, like, I pretty much just showed up and was like, we have to recreate this album with us doing it, with us all doing it, and I think it came out pretty cool.
Yeah, it sounded great. I listen to everything before I do these interviews. I do my research. It sounded great, man.
Thank you. And there is a little magic in there because I get to play guitar and drums, so I'll track the guitar and then I go back and get to. So there's a little magic there, but
I'm just gonna put the artwork up so that people can see the artwork too. Brian Langan did that one.
Yes.
Yeah, that's
Brian's the man.
Definitely his work. You could tell right away.
He's so funny, dude. I never met him, right? And he's friends with my wife, and we were like, we only ever communicated through Instagram DMs, and it was just like, here's the songs, here's the demos, here's my vibe, here's what I was thinking, and he really shot me down on some of my vibes, like, that's retarded, like, no. And then one day he just like, how do you feel about hermit crabs? And I was just like, I'm for them, like, okay, what do you got?
Sure, why not?
And he ended up coming up with this cool hermit crab with a cowboy hat on. But my favorite is the back. It's got the snail. I don't know if I think I'll have to give you another copy later. But the back is like, he's just got such a, like, gritty, cartoony.
Yeah.
But yeah, Brian did that first album artwork.
It's pretty cool. And some of that stuff also made into live versions on the new album. So for the new album, I wanted to. One of the things we do on the show is a little segment we call the breakdown, where we go track by track on an artist's latest release, and let them kind of tell the inspiration and stories behind each song. So this can be about the lyrics, the composition, the recording, all of it, whatever you want to say is the most interesting aspect of that particular track, you can go for it. So cool. you want to do that for this new album?
Yes, but I will preface that by saying, every song is whatever that person feels.
Sure. Yes, absolutely.
And I always get in that world of, like, I want to tell every detail, but that might start to take away from the magic. So I'll give a brief yes.
That's fair. That's totally fair. Yeah. I get that sometimes from some of the artists. Like, I don't know if I want to say what that song is about. I'm like, well, that's okay. You don't have to exactly say, well, this song is about my ex-girlfriend. You know what I mean?
Right.
You could say, like, in the studio, this one was really tough for me to record. We had to do it 100 times or something like that. I think there's a story behind each track, whether or not you want to tell the full version of that story. Yeah. That's totally up to you.
Off the new album? Is that what we're going down?
Yeah. We're going to go off the
that'll be fun.
New album. Because it also has some live tracks that are also songs that are featured on the first album.
Totally.
So it works. So what I guess as a preface to this, if you look at the back of the album, and I'll put the new album art up on the screen, but On the back of the CD, you see side A and side B, like you used to see on old records and things like that.
Yeah, it's going on vinyl.
Yeah, so that was on purpose.
That was on purpose.
There was this very specific reason for that. What was that?
We're gonna get into it quick then, because
all right.
The purpose for me to make a vinyl was I was specifically told never put your first album on vinyl, which meant in my brain you put your second one, right?
Right.
But also I like to always have a new thing that I'm trying.
Okay.
And to put it on vinyl, I learned a lot. You have like legitimate lengths to stay in.
Sure.
Didn't know that. You know what I mean? Didn't know what those numbers were. Didn't know how to make it work. But and before I get too deep into this, if you have seen the artwork, I need to make an amendment.
Okay.
The first song was called, up until the day before the release came out, was called Kick and Pick. And I was kind of explaining to you, this is my vibe, right?
Yep.
But sometimes in the music world, the musicians will have like a shorthand way to write a song.
Yeah.
And then you have your like actual song titles.
Right, yep.
So the song title got changed at the last minute for the first track. So the first track's called Workin'. Mm-hmm. But on the artwork, it still says Kick and Pick. So we'll get that fixed eventually, but...
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Hey, it makes a collector's item,
I was just going to say, first 100 vinyls will be one of a kind.
There you go. So, what can you tell us about what is now titled Workin'?
Yeah, Workin', it's literally just the breakdown of what has been going on. You know, it was called Kick and Pick because I was just playing a lot of these things with just an acoustic guitar and a kick drum. Mm-hmm. But really, the whole song was written about work and going to work, man. I'm like, I do these gigs, but I also got a Monday through Friday gig, you know, and it's outside and it's work, you know. Yep. Sweat is sweat. And that song for me is just like, it's got a cool like slip jig, kind of 6/8, like Irish traditional, right in the middle of it. And for me, that was like some of my favorite stuff I did with the Prodigals back in the day. Like those parts of the songs were always the most fun to play. So I just slammed it right in the middle because I thought it was a cool play on the quarter note, like boom, bounce, bounce to you know, like this lower deck on the Titanic kind of. You just right down there and pop back up. But yeah, that song's like, for me, energy. It's like I've seriously listened to it probably 1,000 times since I've recorded it, just for myself. Yeah. Just to wake up, you know, just to like, okay, I got this. Whatever I'm doing, let's go get it.
So you're pretty happy with the way that one came out.
That's one of my faves. Yeah, for sure.
All right. So the second one is Refrigerator.
Refrigerator. We kind of talked about the Boys in Cabinet. Mm-hmm. There's a house over in Southside Scranton that all that kind of milled around, and my wife and I lived there when we first moved back. So that tune, I was sitting in the kitchen and staring at the refrigerator and just thinking about how many people I look up to, or I listen to their music, or, you know, I try to emulate in my stuff, and like it all happened right in that same space. So that was kind of my like tip of the cap to that Johnny Prine, you know, like picking style, and just writing it about Southside Scranton. You know, like the one lyric is like, you know, my neighbor, I had to call the police 2 times this week, one for a neighbor burning garbage who forgot to be discreet. You know, it's like the dude was just burning his garbage like it was a black cloud. I'm like, bro, I don't know what to tell you. Like, you can't do that. You know, and so just like living next to the highway. It's really just about living right next to Route 81. So is the third song, actually.
Okay, the third one is Rainy Wednesday.
Rainy Wednesday. And it's pretty much, for me, it's like, it's the same mental space in two totally different song styles.
Okay.
But yeah, Rainy Wednesday was kind of influenced by them changing the name of the Scranton Expressway. And I was just mad about it because to me in my brain it still is that, and I would meet people and they'd be like, what are you talking about? Like, oh, the Biden Expressway? Like, that's what it says on my map, you know what I mean? I'm like, fuck, no. All right, never mind. Yeah, it just is what it is, but just, you know, I'll keep my tongue in my mouth.
Man, I don't care who you voted for. They should not have changed that. They should not have changed to Biden Street. That's bullshit. Bro. Well, first of all, I think we venerate politicians way too much when we let them put their names on everything like they're some kind of gods. So we could do away with all that shit to begin with. But the main thing is that, especially when somebody's still in office, we don't know if that person years from now, like imagine, you know, you change, when Nixon's in office and you change the building, the Nixon building, and it's like, well, shit, now that he's in Watergate, we got to take that down.
Yeah,
that looks pretty bad. And it's like, well,
yeah, posthumously you can change the name.
Sure, let's look at their legacy first. Like,
totally.
Let's let them maybe be dead. First of all, so that there's absolutely no impropriety there or anything like that because they're long dead. And then we could look at their legacy and go, you know what? They were a really good president. They really did a lot for this area. Or they really did a lot for whatever, something. And they deserve their name on something.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, let's not do it while they're still in office. I think that.
And then all those poor people who like live or have businesses on that street had to change their address.
Change everything.
You know, it's just like, dude, really? It's the Scranton Expressway. Okay?
Right.
That's what it's called. From here on out, forever.
Yep.
But that's kind of Rainy Wednesday vibe. Just thinking stupid shit like that in my head.
That's fair. All right, so we got Travis County Jail up next.
Oh, shit. Okay. This is, I don't know. I'm going to say it because it's a real story. Yeah. And I did go to jail in Texas, in Austin, Texas. And every word of that song is literal. And there was like 10 more verses. Like, I just told the whole story one night in rhyme form at like, I don't know, I remember I was in my underwear and I had a pencil. And like, that was odd to me. But I just kept going and telling this story, and every word just started like rhyming, and the rhyme scheme was there. And I came upstairs to my wife and I was just like, babe, I just put our kid through college. Like, with the most ridiculous song about going to jail for public intoxication. You know, it's like, no, I didn't. You never know. Hey, it only takes one.
Yeah, that's right. You never know.
But that song is just a literal breakdown of going to jail in Austin. We were there. I was there with the Prodigals, and we were there for an Irish festival. And our green room tent was just like a easy up on the flip side of an Irish whiskey tasting. And at one point, my body was in the green room, but my head was in the whiskey tent. And they were just continually letting us taste the whiskey. And I went down to 6th Street. And for anyone who's been to Austin, 6th Street's just chaos. And some dude thought I was Macklemore. And I didn't correct him. And I let it go. And yup, that ceiling can't hold us. I had a microphone, dude. They gave me a microphone and thought I was Macklemore. And then, like, I don't know, 2 a.m. or whatever, I just kind of walked out. And there was they shut down the street, but there was horses. Like, there was, the cops were on their horses, like, right in front of us. And I touched that horse. and Technically, I didn't touch a horse. I assaulted a police officer.
Oh, okay.
Because a police horse is a police
officer, right?
And the rest, just slowly went downhill. But I will say, the next morning, I did make it out of jail in time for the set. Walked right onto the stage, played our set. We walked right off, got on a plane, and I thought that was the end of it. And then, 5 years later, I applied for a job, and they're like, you have a warrant for your arrest in Texas. Should I say that? That won't fuck me, right? No, that was just, that was a long time ago, but that was like, what? For what? And it was, unfiled paperwork from my incident.
Jesus.
Yeah, so it was so memorable to me that it just had to go down in song.
Yeah. So it's clear that the cops were not Macklemore fans.
You're right. They didn't give a shit about Macklemore that night.
They were not letting him. So if it really was him, he would have gotten jail too.
Poor guy. It really was a slap in the face with how once you are in handcuffs, nothing you say matters.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter who you are, what you're doing, what you're there for. Nope. They're not going to listen. You're in handcuffs, But yeah, that's maybe a little too much of the story that I want to tell, but it's just there. That's the truth, man.
Hey, that's what we like. That's what I appreciate you telling that.
Macklemore, if you see this though, hit me up. I got some tunes and some beats.
Yeah.
We shouldn't go to 6th Street though, just in case.
Right, yeah.
Just
Stay
in case
far
the
away.
pictures are still up.
So number 5 is dopamine dealers.
Yeah. That's really about music being a drug. I watched Dr. Phil or one of those doctors with a show. Mm-hmm. He had a guy on and he was like, they were talking about opiate addictions and the part of the brain that lights up. And the guy was like, what alternative forms of therapy and stuff? And they're like, actually, Bob, I'm a doctor. And we've learned that music, really helps the brain. And I was like, fucking duh, why would you need a doctor to tell you that? But then I was like, kind of on that train of maybe I am like a drug dealer. Maybe it's an auditory drug that is still, it'll get you high. It'll let you have a damn good time. Especially when it's raw and done right in front of you so the instrumentation on that one is acoustic guitar, upright bass, mandolin, banjo. I think we put honky tonk piano on it. So it's it's supposed to be yo, we're all gonna party it's $18.99 or something, and just getting high on a good time. Dopamine, dopamine dealers. And it actually came about when I was standing on my porch at 10:30 a.m. sipping coffee. I had a gig the night before, and I saw another dude out there. I was like, who isn't working on Tuesday morning at 10:30? Drug dealers. Whoever makes all their money at nighttime, and he not, I'm not saying that's what he did for a living, but he could have. So maybe I was too, but yeah, dopamine. It's in the music. So just listen to good music, man.
So that's side A.
That's side A.
Side B starts with The Saddest Palm Tree.
Yeah, The Saddest Palm Tree. Well, I recorded that. I recorded the whole A side with Tyler Thompson in Pittsburgh, Pittsburgh, PA. Tyler's an awesome drummer. I met him. He plays in a band called Fruition. And I met him.
Oh, I've seen that. I saw them when they were at Peach Festival a couple of times.
For real?
I thought they were big standouts.
They're still like that.
Really great.
It's still the same core musician, or the same guys playing, and girl, Mimi. And yeah, so T-Tom plays drums for them. And when I met him out west, I was just I just felt like I met a kindred spirit kind of thing. And he actually ended up moving to Pittsburgh and starting a studio down there. And I was just, for me, it was a no-brainer. Like, I have to do something with him. So the A side was all recorded down there with him in his spot. The B side is kind of the first 2 tracks I did with Roy Williams in his studio in Clark Summit. And we took more of like a, so yeah, we say live from the cutting or from the studio floor when you're just like, there's no metronome, there's no click, we tracked that whole thing live in a room, and T-Tom's a wizard, so he got isolation enough to mix. And that was a lot of fun because I had never recorded like that. I had never recorded like just in a circle, no click, no headphones. We didn't even have headphones on. It was just like, and the sound that we got like can never be recreated because it was just so in the moment. And then when I did these things with Roy, we like really took a not a production, but like a producer's approach to breaking them down. We tracked each instrument individually. I think we did drum and bass at the same time for Saddest Palm Tree. And that was like so much different. And I can't say it was like more or less fun, but it was just like now a new approach to the songwriting, like paying attention to every single note, So Roy's an amazing friggin' musician. And that dude can pull stuff out of you, like, and so the Saddest Palm Tree was really about, it's my political song where it's really just about, seeing people fight each other and how beautiful the United States is, but how on some level it's always fighting with itself. Mm-hmm. And so just those kind of like listed out forms of, yeah, it's like you shouldn't fight your brother, like, and just remembering like, if you're the saddest palm tree, you're still a palm tree. You know what I mean? Like, yeah. You're still living in a place that has palm trees. So, whatever's going on, it's not that bad. But that's that approach to playing with Roy like really made it, I think, a little extra special to be able to be like, no, this is a message that I wanted. It wasn't about like strumming and playing and getting all like jazzed up. It was more about like, I think I want to say something, and that's the Saddest Palm Tree.
Next up is Everyday People.
Everyday People. Yep. Key of G. That one, I kind of wrote it during an argument and wanted to just remember that, like, every relationship or it doesn't even have to be relationships. It could be like your band or your job or whatever it was. Like, you're always going to have your top tier people that you always like, oh, well, when back in my day, or these people did it this way, or like these people really made it to the top. It's like, but they're just people. Like, every person is capable of doing that. So just a kind of, I think it was written really in the style of Gordon Lightfoot. Kind of had like a Gordon Lightfoot vibe going on. And I think I actually quote a little bit from one of his songs. And yeah, just kind of like, everybody has the ability to be the best version of themselves. Like, why not us? Like, why can't we be the ones who overcome this struggle? So that was my sappy one. Right before it just like hits with the live tracks.
Right. So the last couple of tracks, the last 3 are live versions of songs that were on the debut album, right? Mm-hmm. So what can you tell us about Outlaw Double Yeah?
OUTLA.
Yeah, OUTLA.
Double. Yeah.
Double, and then yeah. Yeah.
That's my rocker.
Okay.
Those last 3 tracks were recorded up in Binghamton, New York. Or I'm sorry. Oh, I guess it's Deposit, New York. At this venue called the Red Barn. It was the place I played my first gig, where my Uncle John told me to hit the drums because it ain't a funeral. Seriously. So like to come back and be playing up there with this band, we just wanted to remember the tunes. So Outlaw is like our, boot stomping, shit kicking, beer slugging, whatever. About all the Outlaw musicians. But really those 3 live tracks are really just about like catching the vibe of the band. All the mistakes. We didn't take any of them out. We didn't edit any of it. Yeah. But they were mixed by T-Tom down in Pittsburgh too. So he took some really raw tracks, but he kept telling me, he's like, dude, that room sounds awesome. So when an audio engineer tells you a room sounds awesome, that's a mental note to like, maybe we want to keep some of these. Yeah. Maybe we want to mess with some of these, Right. So Outlaw is like a rocker.
Next one is Charlotte Grace.
Yeah. And that's my like, I don't know, the most popular one off the first album. Okay. Definitely get the most feedback from Charlotte Grace. That tune was written about Truckee, California. I lived out in Tahoe. And that's where I got my dog. So it was written kind of a message from me to my dog living in PA, being like, how did we get here? But, she's a great dog, and she doesn't give a shit where we are as long as we're playing with a ball. And but the tune, the live version is like, I think when you find a song that the band you're playing in, it's their favorite too. Whatever the performance that comes out of them, like, gets a little better. So that's all the guys in the band's favorite song too. So it just felt like a no-brainer to be like, it's going on the album.
That one's got to be on there.
Yeah.
And then Her Picture in My Wallet is the last one.
That one's, again, since they were live, like that song specifically is fun for us. Like that's fun for me. It's got some cool drum parts that when we do them live, we can kind of go to space. We can stretch. And another one that like usually when whoever I'm playing with, they'll be like, that was fun. So just keeping those like in the repertoire to let people know who are listening to the band, like we're not super tight-laced on any of this. Like it really is about having fun. And that includes us on the stage. Like, we want to have fun too, So if we want to, vamp this chorus out for 20 minutes, we might do that. If we want to cut it short, we'll do that too. But as long as that little live aspect at the end of this project was just to let people know, like, it's not all that serious. We all can play our instrument, and we all crush, and we all have fun together. But we all play a few wrong notes. There's no auto-tune on this shit. Yeah. But yeah, the whole thing to be like an experience on a vinyl was my thought of like, what do I like when I sit down to listen to music? Like, I like that 40 minutes of, like digging into a group. Or, like even with that 20-minute, go up, flip it over, like sit back down, or go have a joint. Like the second part of the album is like kind of, built for that. Like just like more of a conceptual, not a concept album, but like an actual kind of, we all listen to music in digital form now. We might not even listen to an album. We might only listen to one song from an artist that's on a playlist, but for me, like, as the artist, like I don't create things that way. I would never want to create something that's just like a flash in the pan on purpose. Right. So, doing it with a side A and a side B, and I have to give a huge shout out to Seti Hopkins. Seti Hopkins did all the artwork for this. He did the 2 songs I did with Roy, Everyday People and Status Palm Tree, I released as singles, and he did the artwork for those. And every time I've just literally said, do whatever you want. And he, like, just in the nick of time sends me one thing, and I'm like, it's perfect. So Seti did the design for the album art. He did the design for the...
I was going to say, I'll put the flyer up that people can see as well. So I have the version on here that you can see on camera, but I'll put the actual one up on the overlay so people can see that.
Cool. Yeah, he did that out of construction paper.
Oh, wow, that's so cool.
Yeah, right? So it's like, definitely not AI.
No, definitely not. And it shows.
Cool.
Because it's very eye-catching.
Yeah, I mean, I think, again, going back to our thought, it's like, your brain, I don't know, you know how your brain knows when someone got plastic surgery or something?
Yeah.
Like that.
You immediately
the
recognize
Fibonacci sequence is
not right.
screwed up.
Yeah.
Uncanny Valley.
Right, very Uncanny Valley type of stuff.
What's Uncanny Valley?
I don't know how to explain that. Just like something's off, something's weird.
Yeah, like that artificiality, when you can tell like something's been altered, or like how a humanoid robot would freak you out because it has that uncanny valley of like it's between humanity and like robot.
Yeah.
So it's kind of in there somewhere.
Right. I think since that's true, like the opposite is true too. Like you will immediately recognize what is real.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And maybe we're just used to that because that's what, life is or whatever, but in the artwork world, like, to be putting shit on the internet now, it's like, it's this friggin' big, dude. It's like, it used to be and that's why I wanted to do a vinyl, like, make this huge. Mm-hmm. But on your phone, it looks like this, and it's just like, I still think when you're scrolling through shit, like, if something was done by a human, in this case with their actual hands with construction paper, like, I think your eye might recognize that.
Yeah.
It might stand out in, like, a good way in this sea of fucking Uncanny Valley shit.
Well, let me mention, so the title is Brendan Michael Smith and the Susquehanna Boom Company.
Correct.
Which was released on May 14th on all major streaming platforms, so you can go get it along with the original album, which is Till the Brakes Fall Off, which is just under Brendan Michael Smith.
Wheels.
I'm sorry, Till the Wheels Fall Off.
Brakes would suck too, but
that would either way, not good if you're driving.
Yeah, no.
So tell us about the Susquehanna Boom Company, like who's in that band and like what was the motivation to kind of, I don't know necessarily switch gears with the second album, but to like I don't know, have this lineup for this particular.
The lineup I got is Dylan Skursky on bass, Chance Hurley on guitar, and Corey Woodcock on pedal steel and banjo. Chance will play mandolin too. So it's kind of like 4 people who all play 2 instruments.
Okay.
Dylan just plays bass, but he'll play upright bass and electric bass. I'll play acoustic guitar and then drum set. Chance, guitar, electric guitar, and then mandolin, and then Corey, pedal steel, and then banjo. So we kind of have this. I was looking for this group where we could do like almost 2 different bands in one. So we could have a set where it's like string band style, like a little more bluegrassy, and then a second set where it like gets electric and ramps up. But the spark was because I played the Get Down 2 years ago, and they said the Brendan Michael Smith band. And I was like, that's lame. That's so lame. Like, I can't be that band of that. I'm not that guy. So I wanted to create a band, and I said I do like a 9-to-5 job. So I do landscape stuff, landscape sales, and the company I was working for was showing me like forestry videos from Penn State University that were like they were taken off VHS and put on YouTube. So like from like 1994. So I had been in this system of watching all these videos, and the Susquehanna Boom Company was a real company in Williamsport, and that was where all the rivers came down. So back in like the 1800s, we would float logs down the rivers, and then the boom, and you can still see there's still huge pillars in the river where they had them, but it was just kind of like a huge arcing thing that would catch all the timber, and they were like the richest people in the country at one point, and so it was like the Boom Company, and they kept saying it on this video, like the Susquehanna Boom Company. I was like, damn, dude, that's got a punch. That sounds like a band name, And then I brought it to the guys, and they were like, yeah, that's pretty cool. I like that. And so then it just really became this thing where it's like those 4 people, me, Dylan, Chance, and Corey, were always involved. And then outside of those 4, we usually tend to bring in more.
Okay.
So in the same way, a Boom's just kind of catching whatever, like, hey man, if Pappy's in the area, Pap, come on, dude, let's play some banjo. So he's at the Hartford Fair gig. We got a gig at the Hartford Fair, and he's gonna be playing on that one. Same thing with Roy. If Roy's in town or can come down, whoever's really like, even those songs from the Red Barn, they have like some of my buddies from high school. If they're around, man, just come on in. Like, it's the Boom Company, like there's a bass line for tunes, but now at least it's not the Brendan Michael Smith band. It was just a mental note I kept. I was like, no, we need to start something else. So this is it.
Well, it works. It sounds good, man.
Cool.
Speaking of Pappy, so you're playing a show this weekend with Pappy.
This Sunday.
Yeah. Could you tell us a little bit about that?
It's the Pappy and Friends with Lowell. I don't know this fella.
Yeah, Lowell Thompson.
Lowell Thompson. I haven't met this cat, but if Pap's playing with it, I've watched some of their videos and things like that. So I love these gigs because I have no idea what's going to happen. And I just get to play drums. Yeah. And I don't really have to, steer the ship.
Okay.
And then Dylan's playing bass. So that's going to be like, we get to get funky. We get to, maybe just duck out on some stuff. Maybe, like sparse additions to Lowell and Pap's, singing styles, which, I always think it's like Pappy just reminds me of JJ Cale. And I know he loves JJ Cale too, but like that kind of like almost like drum machine background, like don't change, just like like keep whatever that is going, and then let all that style and funk and little like riffs come out of Pap, and I love playing with Pappy, dude. I mean, and all the guys in Cabinet, they're I've known them my whole life, so
I know you've done some gigs with JP too, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep. Poe, he just he moved a little further down the line, so we don't get to see each other too much anymore. But yeah, he was a big help in that initial songwriting move with like just coming over and picking on stuff, hashing out ideas. So those two have really helped me through like way more shit than just music.
I was gonna say, has Cabinet and everything they've done in general, has that been an influence on you at all in terms of the music that you put out, or you just both having those familiar connections kind of?
I was I even came back and I was like, dude, put me in your band. Like, no, like I've been asking for like 20 years, like just let me be in your band, and every time it's the same answer, But honestly, it was kind of for the better. Because now I'm like, oh shit, this is like I'm in charge, and but there was a moment because I was kind of doing my own thing when they were really building steam here. Mm-hmm. I was in college and then in New York City, and then they were like, that's when somebody I saw one day was just like, your cousin's famous, and I was just like, no. Like, no, I'm sorry, they're not, but cool. But what they were doing was really building that following then, and they were just I mean, all their albums they put out, I listened to everyone. I bought everyone. I knew every note to everything, you know. And when I moved out west, you know, I was kind of like bumming around, and I was like looking for a band, and they were like, "Oh, this band's looking for a drummer." It was the Dead Winter Carpenters, and so I auditioned and got the gig over Winona Judd's ex-drummer. By the way, and I guess he showed up and was kind of a douche, but I actually tried and got the gig. And my first gig with those guys was Delfest, so we ended up flying back from the West Coast, and I get to the gig and I'm like, "There's my cousins," you know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
holy shit, this is awesome. And so that was like kind of one of those full circle moments where it's like, just do your thing, man. It'll all work out, you know. And then we played some gigs up in Vermont with Pap and the DWC crew. But as far as like their influence on me, their biggest influence on me was to not quit. Just don't quit, man. And always be writing. Always know that your family loves you. Always know that like we're going to see each other once a year and everything's going to be okay. But if in the meantime you want to do something, do it fully. You know, don't half-ass it. Yeah. So now it's really cool to be like playing at the Get Down.
Well, it's did you perform last year at the Get Down, or
I don't think it happened last
previous
year.
Last year's? One of the previous years. I mean.
Yeah.
So it'll be a little different this year because you got the full band, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Well, what was your initial Get Down experience like?
The first one I drove all the way back from California and went right to it.
Oh, wow.
And then ate a bunch of drugs and slept in my truck, and it was great. I just felt like I was, you know, home. I remember taking my feet off, I probably did take my feet off. I took my boots off, and I was like stomping in the mud. And I was just like, this is the best feeling in the world. Like, I'm here, I'm back, you know, and it was like, cabinet heads, and then after the drugs wore off, I realized, you know, like, okay, I don't want to be on this side of the fence. You know, I want to bring my shit to the game, to the table. And then I think I ended up being the year after that, I was cabinet's manager for that gig, just that one-off gig, you know, pretty much just run around getting waters for hungover dudes on stage.
Sure.
But I did get to play some drums. That was where I kind of like played with Dylan, and we did some jamming with a bunch of other cats. And then the year after, that's when I was like, okay, I want to get a project together to like, you know, maybe it'll take a while, but I wanted to start that process then. And the next year I got up there, you know, and I realized I need to do better. Constant progression, man. And so I'm really stoked for this year.
I was gonna say, what do you have planned for this one?
Seriously, I'll be driving down the road and I'll have 8 different versions of how I expect this show to go. Okay. Which is dumb because I should just let it ride. But I do that. I think this year's going to be the dopest because now everything's got this cool, cohesive, like, okay, there is almost 2 bands out of 4 people on one stage that everyone, like, there's no egos, man. There's not, like, I guess my ego would have to be the biggest because it's my name on it, but I don't give a shit. I really don't. And I think that kind of bites me in the ass sometimes because if I cared more, maybe I, like, could get bigger gigs or, like, more opportunities, but if it stops being fun, I fucking quit. Like, right. I don't like to do it and not have fun. So this year it's like the people involved are solid. Everybody knows what's going on. Everybody's a seasoned vet, you know. And for me, getting to play drums and having a pedal steel player, like that country western shit is like, it just makes me tingly. I love it. So that's going to be a good one.
And so we're plugging lots of shows on this one. You have a album release show for this album that we've been talking about, at the River Street Jazz Cafe in Plains on Saturday, June 13th. So tickets are on sale for all of these shows, by the way. So, go online, get your tickets in advance. They're cheaper if you get them online before the show. What do you have planned for that? I see that you could, the audience could participate in the music video.
Yeah, and that was kind of a in the moment decision. Maybe who was it?
I see a pattern forming here.
I'm not. I don't know what I'm doing. Is the method here? I'm just going for it.
I love it.
But
I'm all about it.
the drive to like get people to come. I think who said it? Sonny Rollins. He was a musician, jazz saxophone player. He said that your album is the commercial to get people into the gig. Everything about music, especially in jazz, happens live. Yeah. None of it happens recorded. So for me, it was like, I'm gonna put this whole album out. Everyone can stream it for free. I'm not gonna make any money off of it, but I kind of should make some money at some point, or at least like have say I built the opportunity to make some money.
Sure.
So the album release show was like, okay, I'm gonna have all my merch lined up. I got new merch today. I got my new T-shirts.
Yeah.
Which I have to
show the back too. There.
Can you see that?
Yeah.
Right. That's an Axl Rad shirt. It's super rad. They're gonna be on sale. We'll have the vinyl, and then to get people just a little more jazzed, like I'm just gonna set up a camera at the end of the night, and we're gonna blast the tunes from the album. We're gonna dance, and that video will exist, and then I will be responsible for the rest. I don't know if, maybe we only use 2 seconds of it, but if it's an excuse to stick around to the end,
yeah,
and then dance with your friends,
absolutely.
I think that's a good little, tidbit to throw in to get people to come out.
Yeah.
You might get famous. You might be in a music video. Come on, stay to the end. Buy a T-shirt. Take a vinyl home with you. But no, I don't know what I'm doing.
I assume that people will be able to hear songs from the new album as well as the first one.
Yeah, we're gonna put a bunch into, and I think we're gonna go with that vibe. Last time I had an opening band. I just hate that whole crossover section or people saying they're not going to go because the opening band or, it's like, So we're going to do the whole night with just BMS and the Susquehanna Boom Company. We'll do a handful of covers to, kind of keep the first half of the night a little more acoustic and country and folky. And then the second half will go full throttle. We'll go into jam land. I'll be on the drums for that and electric instruments, maybe some more, covers of like, maybe not so like country western vibe, maybe a little more bluesy stuff, maybe a little more of the band and some Grateful Dead and stuff we can stretch our legs on, and stuff that everybody. So that idea just being like, that's what the Boom Company was. It's kind of like this in between. It's not a string band. It's not a rock band. It's kind of lives somewhere in the middle. So we'll spend the whole night playing. If people want to stick around. So stick around to the end though, and you're in the music video. That's the deal.
Do we want to see if we have any comments?
Yeah, man, I have no idea.
Summer, do we have any interesting comments, questions, anything like that?
Yeah, we got a little bit going on.
Okay.
From Robin. If you could open for any artist at any venue, which artist and venue would you choose?
Willie Nelson, Bethel Woods.
Ooh, that's a good answer.
She said anyone, right?
Yeah, anybody. Hell yeah.
I love Bethel Woods too. That's one of my favorite venues.
It's right up the road. It's historically awesome. Green grass. And Willie Nelson.
I think my mom went to go see Willie Nelson there.
He's playing up there again, I think. Is it the Outlaw Fest?
Oh,
I don't know. He's gonna be at Bethel Woods, so. You want to throw me on that bill? I'm pretty sure I could squeeze it in. That's my
We'll make time, right?
yes. That's my response. My quick response to Robin.
Oh yeah. There is a long name, so I'm just gonna say Ange from YouTube said hello. I love BMMFX.
Oh yeah, Brendan Michael motherfucking Smith. How many M's and S's can we get in that? But Angie's awesome. Thank you, Angie.
Also Angie Ray on Facebook. Brendan's the best entertainer in NEPA right now.
It's saying a lot, man. There's some talented peeps up here.
Yeah, that's high praise.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, Patrick Lamberson, big love, Brendan.
Yeah.
Living the dream, and we all love watching the journey.
All right. Pat, we used to call him Cricket. I don't know. He'll probably know.
What's this one? Another Angie Ray. I don't remember what song it was, but one of the parts, like the second or the third one you were talking about.
Mm-hmm.
This part of the song where you call your mom and she said, "Yeah, damn it, Brendan," cracks me up every time.
Oh, that's legit what happened. I had to call my mom and ask her to help me get me out of jail. She said, "Damn it," because that wasn't a surprise to her, I guess.
I did ask, we were talking about pizza yay or nay, and we got a Wayne Smith that said yes to pizza.
Yeah, he's a pizza guy.
Pizza.
I just say most people are gonna say yes on that one. I think.
Yeah,
That was the only
especially in this
You're
area.
gonna be an
like
outlier here,
like you
for
said.
Pizza, yeah.
I love it. I love pizza.
It's really the big one here is like what kind of pizza is valid and not valid. That's what people really want to talk about. Like
that's true.
Right? People want to fight about what toppings, how you could make it, how much sauce or cheese is on it, what kind of cheese is on
Yeah,
it, like
totally.
how the crust is done, like what shape it is. Like everybody wants to debate all that stuff. So
See, I'm a classic. I don't know. Have you guys ever been to Two Bros in New York City?
No.
It's
don't
just
either.
like a chain shitty pizza. And I just remember you could walk around eating it, and like you could walk in the building, grab the pizza and your soda and just walk out. Like it was $2.75. That's how I want to eat my pizza.
Hey.
yeah, okay.
Like, Two Bros pizza.
Well, the general consensus that I've gotten fairly recently was that Scranton pizza sucks, but like Wilkes-Barre's good, Pittston, like those.
Old Forge?
Yeah, like everywhere around Scranton.
Yeah, it's real funny because Old Forge is like they consider themselves like the pizza capital of the world and all this stuff. They have all these signs and they say all this stuff and whatever. And it's like you talk to anybody outside of that, and they're all like, "Old Forge style sucks.
Yeah,
Old Forge
I
style is
don't
terrible."
know.
It's very controversial the way that it is.
I don't know.
I guess when it comes to pizza, I'm kind of a hippie and I just love everybody.
Okay.
I want different styles. I don't want to have the same thing every night. You know what I mean? Like if I'm gonna have pizza pretty regularly in my diet, which is just naturally being in Northeast PA, just ends up being the case a lot of times. I don't want to have
The same thing
over and over. I don't want to have New York style and then have Old Forge. I want to have Old Forge style. I want to have New York style. I want to have all different kinds, all in the same.
I've been finding a lot that I just don't want to go back to. Was the thing like I just feel like you shouldn't get so creative with pizza. Like you don't need to fucking do it, dude. It's like it's pretty simple, but I don't know, whatever.
I usually don't gravitate toward pizza. It's usually like I have to be in the mood for it. So I'm kind of on the same.
Yeah, just greasy pepperoni cheese in the normal shape of a triangle thing. That's
Yeah, that's about it for me. Oops, sorry.
yeah. It's just got to be hot. I don't do the cold pizza thing.
I will do cold. I can do cold food.
Really? I can do cold like hoagies, subs. Like
I like anything cold.
not me.
Well, thanks, Wayne, for tuning in. And everybody else who left comments, we greatly appreciate it. Thank you, Robin, for the question and everything.
Yeah, thanks everybody.
Yeah, that helps a lot, and we love that you guys are engaged and interested in the conversation. I guess the only I was going through my list of questions. Anything else that I mentioned? So I know you mentioned both of the bands that you drummed with for a little bit, the Prodigals and the Dead Winter Carpenters. So I guess I wanted to maybe touch on, what was it like drumming for those guys? Maybe touring around a little bit.
Yeah.
And what did you take away from that to what you're doing now?
Cool. Both groups really left like a huge impression. The Prodigals was great because they're from Ireland, and so the Prodigals, I was the youngest guy in the band by quite a few years, and they were pretty seasoned vets at the whole thing. But I'll never forget, man. We got to play the national anthem at Madison Square Garden.
Wow,
on St. Patrick's Day.
Crazy.
And so we got to come in the back at MSG and all this stuff, and we were riding the elevator up, and they're like, "What are the fucking words to your fucking national anthem, man?" And I'm like, "Are you serious?" And I go, "Oh, say," and they're like going through, "Oh, they fuck it up," and I'm like, "You don't know the words, bro? Like, we're at MSG about to do this, and you guys are writing them on a paper?" I shouldn't say this, but I was like, "Oh, fuck, we're fucked," And so I need to help them. So I ended up singing very bravely, as loud as I could, the words to the national anthem, which is still on YouTube, so you could see a very proud Brendan doing the longest press roll of his life and just going for it. Because I had to, know they were going to hear it. But the Prodigals, man, they're still doing it. They play every Friday night at Patty Riley's. It's on the corner of 33rd and 2nd. 33rd and 2nd. It's the only all Guinness bar in the world, or allegedly.
Interesting.
Every night they've been playing. They have a residency there for 27 years now, I think it is.
Wow.
Yeah, 10 to 2 a.m. every Friday. And I still go down when I can, to line up with them. But yeah, they just you want to talk about no quit.
Yeah, right?
These guys kind of, they were post-Pogues. So they were the Pogues were, really huge when the Prodigals had started. But the Prodigals were kind of at their peak when Dropkick Murphys and Flogging Molly were coming out. So those guys opened for the Prodigals, And so now it's this world where those guys are the most known Irish bands, but the Prodigals are just dude, they will not stop. There's no quit in those boys. And so a lot of the music, just the traditional Irish music, it's pretty closely tied to bluegrass. But those guys are, they have space in my heart for the rest of my life. And they'll probably be doing that gig for the rest of my life because they never stop. The Dead Winter Carpenters was, the first experience I had with getting on some of the bigger stages. So that was kind of I don't know, I kind of would say they were the cabinet of the West. Or the area that I was living in Lake Tahoe. Just to draw a quick similarity, but they had been doing it for 10 years when I joined the band or something. So they had a cool system worked out. The lead singer in there are married, Jenny and Jesse Dunn, and Jenny's Charles before that. But she plays fiddle, and Jesse plays guitar. And then the musicians I met through there are it's still growing. I met Jackie Green. I don't know if you know Jackie Green. He's big Grateful Dead kind of in that scene. Mm-hmm. But I got to end up playing with a lot of these cats that I never would have met before if someone wasn't opening the door where I was walking in. But a lot of the bluegrass royalty, we were actually on tour. I'm gonna fuck his name up again. We don't need to talk about that story actually because it's a little dark, but
it's fair.
Yeah, I got to meet a lot of people that really were at the top of their game, and that jam grass circuit, so playing things like Winter Wondergrass, we got to do Delfest. That's when I was like, I showed up to a festival and I was like, oh, I like it here. It wasn't like, oh, it's a scene, or like, oh, everyone's kind of like, it wasn't like a Warped Tour thing where everyone's like, it was like, you bring your kids.
Yeah.
So that was, I think Dead Winter kind of like opened that world to me with like, hey, this is where you belong. We were touring with Fruition. That's where my friends were. We ended up on, a stage with Cabinet. Like, duh. So those guys are still my friends. And, after moving back after COVID and everything, we still talk about maybe one day, like, getting together and doing stuff. But they got their own thing going on still. And so do I. So, but they're both, man, like, everything that I write, it's always like oh yeah, I remember when so-and-so played it like this, or I remember that one gig where so-and-so did this, and I really like that. So the chat GPT of my brain is always referencing, stealing.
But much more authentically.
Ah, right, dude. Yeah.
Not in a copyright violating kind of way.
No way, man. Maybe that's the beauty. It can't come out of your mouth without it being yours. So just like make it yours from the jump,
So now that the album is out there and you got the release show coming up and everything like that, what's the plans for the rest of the year? What else you got going on?
Up until we got most of our bookings up until August. The next plans are to look for some endorsers. If we want to take this to the next level, which everyone does, I'm a little swamped right now with the amount of things that I know I could do to maybe always keep this train rolling all the time. Not saying that I've been slipping on some stuff, but there has been like, there's just not enough time in the day sometimes to like be reaching out to new venues and stuff. But I am playing every weekend, either solo or with a little duo or trio somewhere around the area. They're not all with the full band, so that's the kind of goal, is to like, get to where we can be doing maybe 30, 40 shows a year with the full band. I think that would be maybe a little above my pay grade as far as the booking aspect goes, but I don't know. Maybe it is doable, but just keep stoking the fire. Every free second I can get, just throw some more coal in. Whether that's an email to some, Porch Fest I think is going on. I reached out to them, and just whoever's throwing a party, like, hit me up, because now is the time to just be like, okay, I have stuff booked till August, but that's all just promotion for this first thing. By August, I'm hoping to be working on that next project, which I really want to track to tape is my next endeavor.
Oh, okay.
So this was done, a few different recording style ways, but I've never tracked to tape. And a lot of my favorite musicians or favorite sounds, that's always like, there's a little more pressure when you do that. So I'm hoping to get things, to a point with some of the musicians where we can, get another grouping of songs together and go back in, do it to tape that time.
Not the same kind of tape.
But we do have some cassette tapes here too.
Yes, I put out the first album on cassettes.
That's pretty fun.
I don't know if anyone even has a cassette player anymore.
I feel like these have become really popular now. People love buying cassette tapes. But I think a lot of people just, it's more of a collector's thing of just having it, as opposed to like a practical thing that they're going to put it in a tape player or whatever,
Yeah, I listened to it, and it does sound kind of shitty.
Yeah, right.
It doesn't. I don't think cassette tapes were ever a good way to do it.
I was like, damn, dude, I've heard this like through good speakers, and
like there's a charm to vinyl. There's always that charm to vinyl.
I think so.
That warm sound, the crackling, the needle hitting it, that sort of thing. And CDs, I think, have I think are kind of the best in terms of just the sound in general.
Agreed.
Like hearing everything that you want to hear, that's, the CDs, which I think, I'm so glad that those are coming back as well, that people are buying CDs again, which is nice.
I love it, man. I think even just finding my old CD collection from like high school was like a little bit of an inspiration. Be like, man, I actually have affection for this physical disc. Like,
yeah.
I don't get that with some of the stuff I listen to after,
Right.
But yeah, even if you don't put it in a player, holding something, makes that music like tangible. Then, just whatever it is. So I try to find ways to do that all the time.
For sure. And it makes people listen to the album the whole way through. They're not skipping around and just...
Or getting blasted with a YouTube fucking ad in the middle of it.
Yeah.
That's way louder than the music was, and you're just
Right
like,
smack there.
no thank you. So,
Yep. Can't stand that.
yeah, it sucks.
Yep.
Or when like a venue is just like playing it off their phone,
Oh,
and you're
right?
eating dinner and you're like, I'm listening to Joe's like algorithm Spotify commercials because he won't pay.
Yep.
What are you gonna do?
And the quality is shit all the whole way through.
What are you gonna do, man?
Yeah.
Go back to CDs and cassettes and vinyls.
Yeah.
I mean, really, I say like this is the most advanced form of physical technology for audio. Like it didn't. This was kind of the end, right?
I think it kind of peaked with that.
Didn't we have mini CDs? Do you remember?
Yes.
Wasn't mini
There-
disc?
Yeah, they just didn't take off, I don't think.
Too small.
Yeah.
People were losing them. Too much information.
Yep, that's
Right.
true. Yeah, and at least that too. I think it's the perfect size to like display it, to put it up on your shelf, or to have it stacked up on the shelf where you can see the
Yeah.
spines and everything like
Yes.
that.
Totally.
Yeah, when it gets too small, then it's like you're losing them. You're throwing them all over the place.
This is gonna sound ridiculous, but I've been lugging around 2 totes of VHSs for like 10 years because I'm addicted to that. I love looking at the spines and seeing them.
Yeah.
I'll be like, what do I want? I want you know what I mean? Like,
Sure.
same with vinyl collection. Like, I like looking at them all. I don't know what that is, OCD or something, but yeah, I got every Disney classic still. We watch them. We don't keep them in a case or nothing.
Hell yeah.
So
There's something too about watching them on a tube TV, like an old TV, versus like because when you put it on a flat screen, you could kind of then it shows the degradation and whatever. But you put a VHS on an old tube TV, and it just looks it looks perfect. It looks great.
all right.
There's something to that, I think.
I'm hitting Salvation Army tomorrow.
Yeah,
man.
you got to find one.
Okay.
Yeah.
Honestly, it was hard for me to find a cassette player.
Yeah, it is. It's really tough to find one.
I couldn't, and then the one that I found, I put a tape in and it ate it. I was like,
Yeah.
so.
I have a VHS player, but my photographer Jason, who you guys might know, he took it from me one day, borrowed it one day, and that was many years ago at this point. So I'm hoping that it's still in working condition, because he does he can digitize things. He has like a thing to digitize from a VHS. So a lot of people hit him up to digitize like old home movies and things like that, which is great, but he's using my VHS player to do it that he has not given me back yet.
Well, now we remember.
Yeah. Every once in a while I remember that, and I'm like, I hope that I remember this when I get home, so I could be like, hey, can I get that back sometime? Right?
You know where that is, right?
Get some royalties.
Yeah, you at least still have it, right? Yeah, there we go.
Seriously.
I'll hit him. I'll just hit him with an invoice one day.
Yeah, you're like, okay.
20 years worth of rental.
Yeah, exactly.
That's hilarious.
Like a Blockbuster fee that you thought you got away with, and they just come back out of nowhere.
Yeah, a library book that got taken out 12 years ago.
Yeah.
Like the warrant,
Yeah. Now you gotta.
Yes.
5 years
Shit.
later, comes to bite you in the ass.
$5,000? Oh my gosh. Yeah. Yeah, you should just slide that envelope into his mail one day. He'll open it. I owe Rich what? For what?
Oh, he'll love that.
He was great. He's funny too.
So let's wrap up here. Anything else that you want to mention before we get out of here?
I guess I just want to say to everybody, if you're creative, don't stop. Always keep creating. Don't ever stop creating. Create every day something. Little, big, small, whatever it is. And if you're depressed, it's okay. This too shall pass. One day you will smile. And just remember, have fun. You know, peace be with you. Always. That's all I want to say to people.
And maybe you'll get an album out of it.
You never know. Seriously, you might stumble upon some gold. Alchemize that lead. But yeah, and thank you to you, Rich. Thank you, Summer. You guys are awesome. This whole place is super pro. Thanks to Jason. You know, it's like...
Thank you.
Yeah. If you don't follow them and you are watching this, I don't know why you would be, but make sure you follow and share this stuff because NEPA Scene, man. It's legit.
Yeah, thank you. Please do. Yeah, you know, if you're not following us on any of our social media channels, we're on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, all those places at NEPA Scene. Super easy to find. If you enjoyed the show, which obviously you did, if you're watching this far, you definitely enjoyed it. Also, like, comment, share, because you know we're just like the local artists you see on here. We're always battling the algorithm to get our info out there to spread the word about all the good stuff that's happening in the world, as opposed to all the negativity you might see in your feed. Mm-hmm. So maybe share that, make it a little brighter, make it a little more positive out there. And let's plug all this all this stuff that we just talked about. Brendan Michael Smith's debut album, Till the Wheels Fall Off, and his latest album, Brendan Michael Smith and the Susquehanna Boom Company, are available now on all major streaming platforms. He will perform with Pappy and Dylan Skursky of Cabinet and Lowell Thompson at the River Street Jazz Cafe in Plains on Sunday, May 24th at 6 p.m. Tickets are $12 in advance or $15 at the door. Brendan Michael Smith and the Susquehanna Boom Company will play their album release show at the River Street Jazz Cafe in Plains on Saturday, June 13th at 9 p.m. Tickets are $10 in advance or $13 at the door. And him and his band, the Boom Company, will perform at the 10th annual Get Down, celebrating 20 years of Cabinet at Blaine Picnic Grounds on Thursday, June 25th through Sunday, June 28th. Do you know which day you're playing yet? Or
I don't know if I'm allowed to say that.
Oh, okay, yeah, because I don't think that information's out there yet. But
it's not the first.
You should really go the whole weekend.
Yes.
You should definitely check out the whole weekend. It's a lot of fun. So the weekend passes and everything are on sale now, so you can get your tickets there as well. Yeah. And thank you to everybody who tuned in tonight. Hope you enjoyed this. Hope you took something away from it.
Thank you.
And thank you for hanging out with us.
My pleasure, dude. My pleasure. You guys are super hosts. 5 stars. 5-star review.
Excellent. Thank you. That's what we hope for.
Cheers, dudes.
All right.
Dudettes.
And we'll see you next week for another NEPA Scene podcast. Have a good night.
Have a good night, everybody. Bye. How long was